signal? Yeah, we're good. So this is the part where I get to tell you that the Shanakee sessions is one of the hardest shows that we do. It's an awful lot of work because, as you've seen, we take the guest songwriters' songs that they like and the band learns them from scratch, and then we, if we're lucky, get to rehearse with these wonderful people. So they have to donate a lot of time for what's a very different show from what they would usually do, where they would just show up and sing and not have to go through all of this palaver that I put them through. But for that reason, we get to do this show twice a year. We do it in spring and autumn, or I don't know, February or summer and winter. Anyway, it's going to happen again in November of this year, right here in the community room. So that's after the summer, after everything's settled down. But one of the things that I love about the guest we have today is when I listen to the sound that Joe Weimer is about to perform on the radio, on Spotify, isn't that what we listen on now? I was driving back from Jay's house on the Hightstown Road from rehearsal, and the song moved me so much that I realised that I was parked at a green light near Clarksville, and there was a whole pile of cars honking me behind. I was like, man, this is really such a beautiful song. And I was like, okay, it's Joe Weimer. And then I called her to tell her, because, you know, girls, we do that. But one of the things I said to Joe that night, I said, Joe, listen, I don't want to be very cheeky because, you know, Joe is like my idol. I got to know Joe because we share a producer, Mark Swirsky. So long before I met her in the flesh, I had heard that this woman was the queen, and I can totally endorse that. But I had the neck to call her up and say, this song is beautiful. It was acoustic on the piano on the record, and I said, but I would love to hear this with, you know, the band coming in later and louder. And bless her heart, she's like, whatever you want, let's try it, we'll give it a try. So Joe, why don't you go ahead and introduce the song and let the people hear this fabulous, fabulous song.
Thank you. Jay, should I tell them?
I think it's a great story.
Okay. So, as you can tell, I never do anything pretty, unless I'm sitting at the piano, which is very rare these days, but the piano is kind of my tribute to my mom. So, this song's called No Time Left to Cry, and the title is something my father used to say to me all the time. But I was sharing a little bit about this story with Jay. A few years ago, I reconnected with the brother of my high school crush, okay? And everybody knew I had a crush on Michael except Michael. And when his brother Tom and I started chatting on Facebook, I said, you know, oh, you're doing music again, because I left the music business for a really long time. And anyway, to make a long story a little bit shorter for you, is that I said, how's Mike? And he said, Joe, he passed away. And I was like, what? He goes, yeah, Mike was certified schizophrenic, and he was committed. And so he had a heart attack while he was, you know, in the institution, and he died. And I was like, what? You know, like it just didn't even connect, you know. And he started to tell me the story about how Mike had an affair with one of the nurses in the institution, and they have a son named Andrew, who's the same age as my youngest son, Hudson. And I was like, wow, Tom, there's so much going on in my head right now, and so many things I want to say. You know, I said, you knew I had a crush on Mike. He goes, Joe, everyone knew, okay? So, except Mike. So it was a standing joke all through high school, but I started to think about the things that I wanted to say to him. And I mentioned earlier that my mom and dad died on the same day, but 2 years apart, and it was really unexpected to have my mom die. She just died, just like that. You know, it was like so many things I didn't get to say. And all I could hear was my father saying, you know what, Joe, there's no time left to cry, so get on with it, you know. So I used to play this song, and I could never get through it. You know, as a matter of fact, you know, sometimes it's really hard. In the studio, I actually broke down and cried when we finished the song. Right, Dan? In the vocal booth, I was sobbing because I finally got to do this song. But I have a band, I have a 7-piece band with horns and everything, so you usually see me rocking with the fringe and the hair and all that. So my guys, as Mona and Cindy will tell you, never want to do these kinds of songs with me. And when Helen said, we're gonna do this song, I was like, really? And she said, yeah. And the other night we had a rehearsal, and I was floored at the way the Shanakees put this together for me. So if I don't get through it, they'll just cover for me. So I don't like to share pieces of myself as a songwriter, but I was told I have to, because it's one way to connect with you as an audience. And I don't do that because I have the horns and the Syrian guitars and the fringe flying and all that. So this is me being really vulnerable. So this is about as pretty as I get, pretty much. So, by the way, I got kicked out of Musicians on a Mission because I was too loud and rocking. So now there's Nashville, Woody's, and Musicians on a Mission.
Get Dave on the job. Dave, you fix this.
There's some things I need to say.
Well, you know when you dream something in your head and then it comes out in real life 50,000 times better than you dreamed it? That's what just happened in this room. Give this woman a big round of applause. And I'd like to